all of these turned on and they're working and all of that?
Yep.
I assume? They're all good? You're all good? You're all good? You're all good? Okay. Well, I'm here to discuss that we've come to a settlement in my lawsuit against the American liar, Chris Kyle. And it was a long 5-year ordeal that tried myself and my family a great deal of suffering to go through this, knowing full well, and I'll back up, when I won governor, the first Martin Luther King Day I went to, the keynote speaker was Dr. Henry Gates from Harvard. And before Dr. Gates even started talking that day, he walked to the edge of the stage and he pointed at me and he said, "You're going to see what it's like to be a black man in America." And I think after going through this court case, I can tell you Dr. Gates is a brilliantly smart man. This case started strangely with when I left the country, this story broke. So I had no chance to defend myself or to say this story's not true, and it wasn't true. And I guess in today's world, staying up on the current range of how we talk about things, this was fake news, people, and this was fake news at its finest, because the whole thing is fake. And so by then what happened was I was convicted before I even had a day in court. Convicted by mainstream media where people were telling me to drop the case, calling me names and other various things. It went to court and I won. The jury sided and realized it was a fake news story. It never happened. The trial judge agreed, wrote 20-some pages in agreement with the jury. And then it went to the Court of Appeals. And then you, the fake news, entered the case again. Not just initially, now you really entered it. 32 major media corporations entered this case, wanting it overturned, using your power, your money, and your New York lawyers and whatever else, I don't know. 2 of the judges ruled in your favor. They overturned a Minnesota law, breaking their own rules to do it. Imagine that. Judges breaking. Now, those are dishonest. That's dishonesty. I play golf, and in the world of golf, you're a dishonest golfer if you go out knowingly and break the rules. Well, in the courtroom, you're dishonest also if you knowingly break the rules. These 2 judges broke the rules. They sent it back for a new trial. Now I'll go forward. At one point in June of 2012, this has been 5 years, I offered the American liar, Chris Kyle, the opportunity to tell the truth when we had our first face-to-face meeting. I said if he would simply go out and tell the truth, I would forgive him and we'd both get on with our lives. Well, he was probably making too much money at that point, and he didn't have the honor or the courage to tell the truth. So the lie continued. Then when I won the case, it was overturned in the Court of Appeals. They didn't say that Chris Kyle wasn't a liar. They overturned it for other reasons. Who knows why? If you read the court case, you'll see how they broke their own rules to do it. And then during the negotiations a second time, we've come to an agreement to where there won't be a second trial. HarperCollins, the book company, never vetted their authors. They didn't do any due diligence in this whole matter leading up to the book. And they likewise wouldn't apologize, so I'll end by just saying my apology is in the bank.
How much?
The
settlement's confidential.
The settlement is confidential.
Did they acknowledge that it was inaccurate? Did you get the acknowledgement that this was not true?
The settlement and all the negotiations surrounding the settlement are confidential.
Can you address that, Governor?
All I'll say is my settlement is now in the bank. That speaks and tells you everything else about it. It was offered, like I said, I offered the American liar, Chris Kyle, the opportunity to show honor and courage, and he didn't have it. You know, he didn't have the ability to do that, and that was way back 5 years ago. And so I'm happy this is over with. I can get on with my life. I've been completely vindicated now, because let's remember, if you pay, you don't pay if you're innocent. You go to court. That's what I did. And if you're the other side and you do pay, that tells you who is telling the truth right there.
Governor, are you satisfied with this?
No, I'll never be satisfied, because my reputation got destroyed to the point where it can never be fully restored, and things like that money can't buy. You know, there's certain things that money can't buy, like when I offered Kyle, the American liar, the chance to tell the truth. I would have gotten nothing then. I would have forgiven him, we would have shaken hands and gone our separate ways. But he didn't have, as I said, the honor or the courage to do that. And so it left me, I had to clear my name. And I got in trouble for trying to clear my name. I was ridiculed and caused names by the media. I was told to man up by Bill O'Reilly. Well, you notice who went to court and who didn't.
Governor, any concern about any backlash from military veterans for referring to Chris Kyle as the American liar?
Why would there be? I'm a veteran also. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I didn't start this. He wrote the lie. I didn't even know who he was prior to this.
Governor,
I had no idea.
Governor,
Remember, I'll talk to you later too, so don't tie up everybody on here. You get your chance. When we're done with cameras, then I'll do some print media. If print is here, where I'll sit down with them. But you guys are soundbite media anyway, so got to have my fun with you.
Governor, how badly did you want to go back and retry this case? You were convinced that you were right. Did you want to?
I am right. The jury said I was right. The judge who tried the case agreed. You have two judges that overturned it who never heard a shred of evidence and didn't hear one witness. That's what's wrong with our system, and these judges are not elected, they're appointed. I got elected. I can hold my head high. These guys are appointed, and they're in there for life, and there's no check or balance to them. And I will state this, one of the reasons I didn't retry the case, it was made clear to me that the Eighth Circuit might not ever let me win. And they have the ability to do that. That's a flaw in our system. I could have trial after trial after trial, win, win, win in front of 3 or 4 juries, and all they got to do is overturn it at the Eighth Circuit every time, like they did, and broke rules to do it. They broke 2 of their major rules to do it.
Governor, what has been the low point for you in this whole ordeal? How you're like, man, I got to do something, or?
Oh, I had to do something immediately. When I left the country, I got an email from my son saying, this guy's on national TV lying about you, Dad. And I immediately contacted my attorney, David Olson, and the only way it could be stopped, I was out of the country, was to begin a lawsuit and a cease and desist order, you know, trashing me to sell his book.
Governor, you say your settlement's in the bank. Does that mean you got money from HarperCollins or from the Kyle
The
estate?
settlement's confidential, and we're not going to talk about that.
All I'll say, it's in the bank.
Governor, at the trial, they were unable to produce consistent witnesses who could say definitively what happened that day.
They couldn't produce one witness who saw me get hit. There wasn't one witness in this crowded patio area, and I'm sitting with my friends. Do you think my friends, also former SEALs, would allow one of their own to get hit and knocked down and not respond? And yet there was no police thing. There was no police record. If you go back and look at the trial, it got embarrassing at times watching some of my so-called brethren try to talk their way through this, for lack of better terminology, Tom. And what hurts for me today is that now I can't go to a SEAL reunion anymore because my trust has been violated out there. How could I? Who's going to stab me in the back next? I'll just say this. When I was in the teams, we were called the quiet professionals. Nobody even knew we existed. Not so today. In fact, if I'm not wrong, isn't there a major TV show? I think I saw an ad for it. Well, my day, you didn't see. They didn't. No one even knew we existed. My day, we were the quiet professionals. Today, apparently, they like to make money off their service a lot more.
Did you think it was important to have this news conference today to?
It's important to give closure to me, to where I can finally, after 5 long years, get closure. My wife and I, the First Lady, can move on with our lives now and not be bound. Mr. Olson won't be quite making the money he was. He'll take a hit because it's all over now. But, at 5 years in a court, well, that's one of the techniques. That's the flaw of our court system, one of the techniques. They order a new trial, you're back to square one, and you got to pay. Oh, I want to say this unequivocally, too. This was another thing. The Kyle family did not pay one dime through this 5-year ordeal. It was paid for by HarperCollins and insurance. And that was another misreport by the media. I had to pay. When you're the plaintiff, you got to pay yourself. So, and good lawyers aren't cheap. They shouldn't be cheap either. But the point is that you can dispel. This didn't cost them 1 cent through the entire ordeal.
I know the settlement is confidential. Did you get your legal fees covered?
I can't talk about anything. I won't talk about. I'm smiling. Does that? Everyone see the smile? That's okay, isn't it, David? Can I smile?
The settlement is confidential.
Settlement's confidential, but I can smile. I can smile.
Do you think that, I know you say the punch never happened, and you say you proved it in court.
The whole
If-
altercation never
If
happened.
it had happened, is there any way it would not have made the news long before he put it in the book?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? There was a point where if I stepped on a bug on the sidewalk, it probably made news. I remember when, who was it, who are the guys on TV?
TMZ?
TMZ reported that I had an altercation out by the Orange County Airport. And I hadn't been to California in over a year. I was sitting at home, and I said, wait a minute, this wasn't me. So there was a time, Tom, absolutely, I was so high profile. I can happily say today I'm pleased you all showed up, but I've tried to take a much more low-profile existence now. It would have been even less had this not happened, which thrust me back into the mainstream media again in fighting to clear my name, because when you spend 40 years and you're honorable about everything you do, especially when you hold public office, I think that we need more people that had my attitude, and that was the people of Minnesota bestowed a huge honor on me. 4 years as their governor. I should behave in a proper manner during those 4 years, because you're not just disgracing yourself with bad behavior, you're disgracing the people who elected you. And, good behavior is good behavior. And when you're not saying that I've never had bad behavior, but not when I've been elected. Never.
How optimistic were you that you would reach some sort of settlement?
Do what?
How optimistic were you that you reached some sort of settlement?
I guess always somewhat optimistic, but it took over 5 years. After 5 years, you better have staying power, and the way the system's set up, you're going to drain your money down. But to me, the truth meant more than money. My reputation meant more than money. I would have loved to have an apology. And like I said, initially, I would have got no money, because if the American liar, Chris Kyle, would have simply told the truth that June of 2012, I said I would have forgiven him. We would have shaked hands, and we'd have went on with our lives. But he wouldn't do it, I guess because the greenbacks were rolling in.
Governor, what are your plans going forward here?
My plans going forward are just to continue with my current employment and keep doing that. And I'll throw you one bone. I was just out in Aspen, and I think the three biggest, how would you say, revolutionaries met out there together in one room. A Republican, a Democrat, and of course the ultimate independent.
Can you be more specific?
And we got along phenomenal. Yeah, I'll be more specific. Ron Paul was the Republican, and I call him now my good friend Dennis Kucinich is the Democrat. And I'll just say this, if I do get back into politics in any manner, Dennis will figure in. Not saying I am. But what this does is it lifts the yoke off my back to where now I can get back in politics because I've been vindicated, completely vindicated of this. You know, there should be. I won in front of a jury, a judge, and they settled, and apologies in the bank, as I said. That means you won, people. And that's all I wanted was the truth, because it was a lie from the very beginning.
Governor, do you sympathize with the president's attacks on the press?
I'm not here to discuss that. If you want stories like that, we'll do some. Call Jen Hobbs. She represents me in all media. If you want interviews like that on other subjects, you have to talk to Jen Hobbs. And that's where this is about, a lawsuit, and that only. I don't want to get off track. Anything else on the lawsuit? Thank you all. I appreciate it very much that you took time to come out. Some of you, how many of you were here when I did the April Fool's thing? You're the only one? Oh, Tom? Were you there? Okay. All the rest of you are looking around like, what happened? Are you all turned off now? Turn it all off. Turn it all off now. Turn it all off. We're done. No, that was when it was a great day in my governor's, because it was April 1st, and we had just had this horrible, awful, remember, snowstorm where it was nothing but wet, sloppy snow about this deep. And I got into work at the Capitol that day, and I turned to John Woodley. I says, John, call a press conference for 1 o'clock. So he does it, and you all come down and showed up and slopped your way there through this horrible weather. And when you got into the governor's briefing room there, I just simply walked out and said, thank you. I said, and looked and smiled, said, April Fool. I turned around and went back in the office. And I thought that was, and yet I took major heat over that. I'll tell you, you guys, Eric's the only one that ever had a sense of humor on anything I would do.
Media jackal.
Did you have your jackal badge?
Yeah.
And, but no, I thought it was rather clever at the time, you know. April Fools, that's what you traditionally do. Yeah. You guys were so close to my heart, why wouldn't you do it?
And the love affair continued.
Yes, the love affair continued. You know, I never had a problem with the cameraman. I will tell you that. Cameraman, never a problem. It's all you other ones that are a problem. The cameraman, no problem. Anyway, anything else at all on the
Real quick, are you staying in Minnesota through the holidays? Then
I have no idea. I have business commitments, and I have other things down I do have things in Mexico I need to do, and I off the record, I've never liked Minnesota winters. I'm probably the only Minnesotan who doesn't know how to skate. I was a swimmer, and I spent all winter in a pool. And so I tend to gravitate towards liquid water as opposed to frozen. And all the respect in the world for hockey players, but I've never liked the snow and I've never liked the cold. And my downfall was when I enlisted in the United States Navy when I was 18. And it was January, and they sent me to San Diego. And I got to San Diego and looked around. I said, in January, there's places that doesn't have snow? I didn't know those existed. And so that had a big impression upon me at that point in your life, and I made the decision that no matter what happened, I was not going to live my winters up here in winter wonderland. Like I said, I don't do anything in the winter, but sit inside and look outside and wish I was somewhere warm. Besides, it's a lot safer falling in the sand than it is on ice. I can tell you that from both experiences. Way better to land in the sand than to land on the ice.
Thanks, Governor. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. I did go through a sorrow period, too. I lost my dog.
Oh, sorry. How old?
13 and a half.
Franklin?
No, Franklin was gone many years ago. This was the dog we got after Franklin. And he was with us a long time, made all the travels to Mexico. And, well, you know, I heard it unique.